Anyway, you
Anyway.
see, it's red.
Yeah, hey.
Do you really know what that means now?
What's that?
After 5 years, do you know when it goes red what that means?
Are we on?
That's usually what it means.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so, who are you?
Hey, guys. It's your boy, John. Colder Ice Lawson. What's up?
What are you up? It sounded like
I'm a little low.
a little
Low energy.
Just a little low energy.
Yeah.
Low energy ice.
I've got low T.
low ice, lower ice, low T.
I got low T.
All right. Well, I don't because I'm Brent Leary. See,
That's
how you
even
do
lower
it.
T.
Welcome,
Anyway.
welcome to another colder edition because it's going to be cold here.
Yeah, it's about to get below freezing tomorrow night.
Frosty
Or tonight.
here. Yes,
Tonight,
frosty.
right?
Very frosty, but at least the sun is out, and it's a great Sunday right before MLK Day.
Yes, Martin Luther King birthday tomorrow.
So this is a special edition of Watching Amazon. You know what I think we should start out with, because it is MLK Day tomorrow. What do you think when you think about Martin Luther King and it's 2020?
What do I think about Martin Luther King and it's 2020?
It's like a new decade. It's 2020, and it's Martin Luther King Day, and we're in Atlanta. I mean, this is like ground zero for this kind of holiday, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good question. You see me thinking, is because, you know, one of the things I definitely will say is that the tone of the country is absolute shit when it comes to racial relations, and that's very unfortunate. But also at the same time, it's very fortunate because, you know, somebody lifted the rock and all of the worms and night crawlers have come out. So that's good. Yeah, 2020, baby. MLK.
Then you're very happy.
It is not
MLK
gonna,
Day thought.
this is not going to make the edit. Just put that out there.
Do you think Martin Luther King would have been shopping on Amazon?
Oh my God, really?
I would assume yes. You know.
No, I would assume no.
Really, he would stay away.
I think Martin Luther King would be on the side of the
Sellers?
small, medium businesses. Yeah, I think he probably would have had something to say about the treatment of
With the
Main
third-party
Street.
sellers?
No, just Main Street.
Main Street.
Main Street.
Oh, you know, the actual mom and pops.
Yeah, because there is some, there is no real voice that speaks to what's going on with traditional retail right now. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I could see him probably maybe.
That's
That's a fantasy thought.
I know, but it just, you know, when you're in Atlanta and it is the day before Martin Luther King Day, and you do a show called Watching Amazon, it kind of, you know, World Star clients like, wow, what would he have thought of the rise of Amazon and what it has done to small businesses, mom and pops, a lot of folks that are in the communities that he championed. How, you know, it'll be interesting to know.
It would be interesting.
Yeah. All right, and after that.
Okay, but what about you? You didn't put yours on there.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I wonder if would he be more Elizabeth Warren like in his approach to Amazon? You know, would there be protests? Would there be marches for equality in brick and mortar versus online? Would there be more minority businesses benefiting because he might have had more to do around that area?
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Interesting.
Just something to think about. All right. Getting back to the usual.
Uh-huh.
All right, you're up.
All right, so kind of focusing in on that same thought is that PopSocket CEO said that Amazon bullies with a smile to press for lower prices, but he actually was speaking at Friday's antitrust House hearing, which we're not hearing a whole lot about.
There's
know,
some other things going on.
There's some other things going on, but at the same time, the antitrust is moving forward. They called on the CEO of PopSocket. We've discussed PopSocket's issues with Amazon before.
Poplock?
Not Poplock.
Rerun? No.
God.
All right, sorry.
Wow. Dude, you're killing me. So PopSocket's had their run-in with Amazon.
Yeah, they were originally selling on Amazon, right?
Right, and Amazon was putting pressure on them for pricing and telling them that they had to match pricing on other platforms.
So in other words, they were
ended up
selling
pulling
they were selling it for a lower price on other
on their own platforms,
on their own website.
and Amazon wanted them to match.
They don't want to be outdone because why would anybody want to buy it on Amazon if the price is cheaper somewhere else?
Right, but that's still an antitrust issue, I think.
Right.
And I'm sure that's why they called them. And they just talked about the relationship, which is interesting because PopSocket still has a relationship with Amazon in terms of their third-party platform for, Amazon merch. You're able to create a design on a PopSocket and sell it on the platform. So, but it's interesting. One of the things that came out of the story was that they removed their stuff from. So Amazon's claim to fame thing is, look, if you don't like Amazon, there's all kind of other platforms to sell on. Well, they went to the second biggest platform, which was Walmart, and their sales was 1/38 of what they are on. Yeah, 1/38. And they're a big seller with a big brand, and people know it. 1/38.
That right there tells you just how dominant.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first thing
I was
to put a
thinking maybe
number.
10%
exactly.
or something.
Yeah.
138.
Yeah,
That's
138.
like 2-point-something%.
1/38 of the sales they had
Wow,
on
that's
Amazon.
huge. That's huge.
So that kind of puts it in perspective.
So I want to say PopLocket so bad. PopSockets basically pulled their stuff off of Amazon because they didn't want to kind of
deal with that relationship. Yeah.
have to say we have no pricing power on our own products anymore. So they pulled it off, and now they're selling it, in different places. And the business is still, I mean, that's a pretty significant drop off there. But the business, they've stuck to their guns on that.
They've stuck to their guns. They're in negotiations now.
So they want to get back on. Right?
Well, they want to do direct sales.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they used to do direct to Amazon sales. They'd sell directly to Amazon. They want to go direct to consumer as a third party.
Okay.
They're going to.
So that's what, 30% of a commission or something?
15.
15%?
15 to 25 or 30.
But they get to control the pricing?
Yes.
Interesting. Well, okay. All right.
Somewhat. Because actually there is a rule written in the terms of agreements that you have to have parity. However, in recent ages now, they have stopped enforcing that as stringently as they used to because I believe of this case.
That is just such a powerful example of how powerful Amazon is.
Yeah.
These guys, they're probably killing it on Amazon, but not making as much profit margin as they did.
Well, they were killing their brand on Amazon. I mean, Amazon was hurting their brand. And the biggest issue that they really had was not just the pricing, but it was the fact that they had counterfeits that Amazon wasn't stopping.
Okay. Oh,
right?
Okay.
So the deal is, if we pull all of our products off, then that leaves everybody else as a counterfeit. Now it's easier for them to remove the counterfeits. So it was really the counterfeits that were hurting their business, and they were trying to leverage their strength and their power to get Amazon to be more enforcing that rule about counterfeits. Amazon responds back like, no, we have you under the,
And
we got you by the ball.
Right. Interesting. All right. No, that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's
138.
That's a hell of a
That's beyond fall
That's
off a
a hell
cliff.
of a number.
Man. All right, that got me. All right. So I'm going to hold the one that I really want to get into for later.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about this one because this is kind of, well, we're in 2020, so I guess all sorts of stuff is about to happen. All right, so we posted something last week on Amazon, putting together some technology, some biometrics that basically, instead of having to pull out like your phone and have somebody scan it, or you have your little key card, that like I have for my groceries, where you have a little card, like a membership card or a loyalty card that has a little scan on it, and you scan it. Amazon's like, we're going to continue to try to remove friction as much as possible. So they come up with technology that they say will basically allow to use your hand and have your hand scanned, and that will allow you to basically be recognized and buy stuff as opposed to pulling out a card and having it scanned. So it's talking about biometrics in your hand that basically allow you to use your hand to scan products in and out, buy stuff with the palm of your hand.
Why do you need the hand?
Ask Chris Piccoli about that.
I'm just curious why the whole hand.
Well, it's the palm, I guess.
Well, what's wrong with the fingertips? We already got fingertip scanners.
It just looks like, it's trying to develop this technology. Maybe it would be nice to do, because you know what?
I don't think one finger is good. You need more than...
Well, Clear does too. Clear at the airport does too.
Right.
So
yeah, if that's good enough for them.
But think about it. If you can do that at the airport, why not do that anywhere else?
But why do I need a whole...
I don't know.
Technology's already there for 2 fingers. Why do I need a whole palm?
I don't know. Maybe.
Does it tell you in the story?
I didn't really think about it.
You didn't read the story.
No, I didn't think about it was that big a deal. It's like,
I'm just curious. Okay,
you could do it like a retina scan too. I don't care.
Yeah, but but go ahead. All right, now go.
No, I'm just saying, if we could do it, we're doing that at Clear, because you and I are both Clear members.
Yeah.
And it is a lot faster to be able to just do this than to go through, pull your ID out, have some dude looking at you, that's just another removal of friction and another potentially security measure, because...
Where are they going to use this?
You can use it wherever. Like, you go to the Amazon Go stores right now.
Okay.
You don't have to do
Pull
anything
out your phone and scan
right,
it.
you just walk out.
Put your hand on the thing.
But when you first go into the store, you do have to, you have your Amazon Go app, and they have to use that to scan. So instead of having to do all that,
you do your hand.
It just removes a little more friction from the process. What is Amazon famous for? Removing friction from the process. Every chance they get, they're always trying to do that. So now they're doing it with this, and I mean, it makes sense to me, because Clear is great, except it gets backed up on a Monday morning in Atlanta.
Yeah, but that's just that everything's backed up.
Yeah, but generally speaking, I can move through the airport, but not just Atlanta, but the other airports,
get it,
in and out. So if you're trying to remove friction and create a better experience, get off the palm.
I'm stuck on the palm thing.
Get off the palm, please.
It's like they're trying to make news to me, like, hey, we're creating a scanner for your palm, and it's like, but there's already scanners out there for your fingers.
Hey, you're right.
And your eyes.
And your
Have
eyes.
you ever had to do the eye?
Yeah, Clear.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I didn't know. I've only had to do it once, and I didn't know they had an eye scan on it.
Oh, well, when you sign up for Clear, they scan your eyes.
Yeah,
what were you doing?
I was high that day.
All right, but anyway, so it could be coming to stores near you. Use your palm to get your stuff.
Maybe it's going to be a palm like that.
I don't know.
Now that would be different.
Oh, good Lord. Anyway.
You know what I'm saying? That would be, if I could just do a palm wave. Now that's awesome.
A palm, was there any other kind of way? Like,
well, I mean, it's just like,
two?
where I could just, because with the other thing, you have to contact, contact.
Right.
So maybe the palm
but
scan doesn't
eyes,
need contact.
You don't
need contact.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Maybe the palm scan doesn't need a contact.
Maybe that's it. It just pulls it up.
It might. Yeah, that might be it.
Is that better for you?
Well, it makes more sense.
There you go. All right.
For why they would
let
do
JB
this.
know that, and then maybe he'll incorporate that.
Yeah. Okay. You get it though, right?
Yeah. Whatever.
Now I get it.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. You're up next.
Hold on. I got to do a palm scan. next segment. So. Bezos makes a surprise trip to India. Nobody knows. He goes on stage and talks for about 20 minutes.
And he doesn't usually do that kind of stuff.
No, he doesn't. I mean, it was pretty interesting to listen to him talk, what he had to say. I found it very telling when he said that he's Amazon's planning to invest $1 billion in India. And then he goes on to say, which I saw a lot of papers put that in, but the second part, right after that, is that he said he wanted 10 billion of product sales exported from India to where? America.
Maybe.
Right. So I really put two and two together, whereas like, look, we're doing what we're doing and we have our initiatives in China. He recognizes the importance of India in getting in very early.
It's the number 2 market.
Exactly. And the infrastructure that he's already putting in place with FBA, all of the Amazon planes, trucks, it's really important for them to, it's almost them making a direct beeline to the producers of products so that they can sell that and cut the middleman out of product here in America. So I just thought it was interesting. But not only that, what was also surprising was that the Prime Minister refused to meet with him. He met with a lot of
What, like
protests.
Protesters, right?
Yeah, oh no, a lot of dignitaries, they just refused to meet with him because of what Amazon historically has done with small businesses. They're doing it also in India, and a lot of those politicians require the support of small and medium business. So to meet with Bezos, who was their hardened enemy, would be bad. So there was a lot of rebuke on Bezos and a lot of, go home Jeff kind of thing. So it was interesting that there's
So they were basically trying to give him a passage out of India, huh?
You sat there that long for that.
I was just waiting for the opening.
You were. Anyway, so, but definitely worth looking at. Go up to YouTube if you haven't done that. It's about a 20-minute interview. It's worth watching. Gives you an idea of where Jeff's head's at, especially when it comes to global e-commerce. So,
good one. That's a good one. I like that. All right, here's one. It's this ongoing shipping thing. And remember, right before Christmas, big news came out. Amazon basically forbid third-party shippers to use UPS.
UPS or FedEx? FedEx Ground.
It was FedEx Ground. So they couldn't do like the 1 or 2 day
right
Amazon Prime stuff. They could not
self-fulfill Prime.
Right.
Yes.
So remember, we did a whole thing on that and what we thought that meant. Does that mean the whole FedEx is really starting to get a tank after this move? Well, then this week, Amazon lifted the ban.
They did say it was a temporary ban.
They did, but we thought,
yeah, we thought it would be like
a little less temporary than what they were going to say. But they lifted it up. So, does that mean that FedEx doesn't have anything to worry about? This was just a little short-term little hiccup, and they, maybe Amazon just wanted to make sure that they got through the season and were able to hit certain delivery numbers, and now that they got through it, everything's all good?
I don't think Amazon is really I don't think Amazon is in the mode of, hey, let's compete with UPS, FedEx. I think their only reason for doing their own logistics is to ensure that their customer satisfaction rating stays where it's supposed to be. More so than like, hey, we need this more as another revenue stream. I don't really think that's the major, push.
You look at over the last year, the focus for them has been on building out the last mile, getting delivery from 2 day to 1 day, and we think eventually it's going to be same day. It could be like 4 hours or whatever. So they've been doing a heavy investment in infrastructure, which means a heavy investment in buying land in locations that will make it easier for them to meet this dream. I don't know if it's a dream. Maybe they had a dream since it's MLK Day of getting to same day delivery. So they've been buying land, and we
No,
just
they haven't.
well, yes, they have.
They lease.
Well, whatever. They lease land to
That's
build.
a big difference.
All right, that's true. But they lease land to build their own fulfillment centers locally across wherever they need to be. They just announced that they're going to have another place in Metro Atlanta. It's going to have 500 new jobs apparently. But even as that was announced, I saw 2 or 3 other announcements of new fulfillment centers being announced in different parts of the country. So, putting this kind of all together, has Amazon become more than an e-commerce company, more than a web services company? Have they become, almost sort of like a McDonald's kind of company? Remember when everybody would talk about McDonald's and first people would be valuing them as fast food, but then
they own these spots in these different locations.
yeah, so they're more of a real estate company than anything else.
Okay.
Are we starting to see, even though they're not?
No.
Can I get it out first?
Okay.
Because they have bought Whole Foods.
No.
I'm not done
Go ahead.
yet.
I'll finish.
They've got Whole Foods. They have all these distribution and fulfillment centers popping up everywhere. And it seems like as more companies step away from physical locations, Amazon is stepping to more physical locations, just not in retail, but in fulfillment and distribution. So is Amazon becoming more of a real estate company?
No.
I'm not done yet. A real estate company than maybe people expect and are valuing them in a way that doesn't take that into
They're not buying
consideration.
real estate.
They're dabbling in real estate.
No, I'm saying like even the one that's around the corner
Right.
that they're building.
Right.
They don't own the real estate. The corporation, the developer bought the real estate, and that developer is building the property.
Right.
Then Amazon will lease the property from them.
Now, is that a modern way of?
Well, let me tell you
Yeah,
why.
right.
If you think about it, if
Right.
I'm Amazon,
Right.
right? Ultimately, Amazon wants to have their warehouses where?
On their own land?
In the cloud,
Oh.
right? So at some point, Amazon wants to be able to flee away from all of that and move to the next level. I don't think Amazon is making a long-term play in real estate. They realize and recognize that they'll use it for the time that they use it, and as their business model changes, for whatever changes they are, they're going to be fleet enough to be able to leave and move on.
Yeah, but you still have to have physical.
And they'll rent that.
All right. So that poses the question: does that mean they are the 21st century real estate company, where
think so,
you don't
yeah.
own the real estate?
Yeah.
But you're able to.
They're an Airbnb.
But I would say even more than that, because they have the ability, because of who they are, to say, you know what, we want this, and we want this here, but we don't necessarily want to own this. If you build this for us,
Yeah.
we'll do it.
And they'll give
We'll
you
use
tax
it.
breaks and all that. So it is a definite, different, yeah.
That's an amazing.
Yeah, because you think
capability.
about it, right? But I mean, it's not a new model. So right now, let's say Macy's says they're going to close X amount of stores. Macy doesn't own that property. It's owned by the developer that built the mall.
Right.
And so the property still exists, and it's got boards up, and it
Yeah,
used
ain't
to be
nobody
a
using
Macy's,
it.
but it's not like Macy's is losing anything from having the boarded up store because it wasn't their real estate.
But the difference is that was the only operational area that Macy had, were these stores, where Amazon doesn't have that.
That's just a storehouse.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that is new in that regard. And I don't know, like,
Same with Whole Foods. I bet you they don't own those.
Those physical locations?
Yeah, I bet you they. Most of them are in shopping centers and malls.
Are these stores today? Because traditionally, any kind of physical location, be it a house or a store, the traditional path was it would grow in value, it would grow in worth. Are these stores not doing that anymore? Just
do you
the
mean,
physical
physical
location, the
location?
building of the store.
The building of the store right now is in a down market
All
still.
right. So
There's a lot there. It's supply and demand.
right. So traditionally, it had been up. Now it's kind of down for retail.
Right.
So there's no benefit at all to owning these stores. Right.
Right, which is another thing that's interesting to me because retail real estate is
Tank.
low.
Right.
Yeah, that Amazon chooses not to
Not even
move
buy
in,
it.
right, or even move into an empty space. They end up buying or
These-
creating their own new space.
Right.
Yeah, I mean they could get all kind of real estate that's already
it seems
pre-developed.
like because they recognize that real estate is not acting the way it has traditionally, which
Maybe that's why they're not investing in it.
that's smart, man.
I don't know.
They are able to, well, it's I guess
it is.
At
It
some
is.
point the pendulum may swing back and it'll be better to own because you can control your costs that way. But if you're able to call your shot and say, look, I don't want to buy this, but I want you to buy it, develop it, and we'll lease
Release
it
it from you.
You develop it to our specs,
You know?
and we'll lease it from you.
So,
That takes away so much of the risk.
Yeah, it mitigates a lot of their risk for their growth.
So to me, that's that's a power move
Yeah,
in modern land.
actually, you know what? And I've talked about Webvan before.
Man, they were way ahead of their time, weren't they?
Right, but what killed Webvan is that they bought the retail space.
And that means they had no control over what happened with that market.
Yeah, and it hurt them.
Whereas now
Whereas
Amazon is like,
literally is like,
hey, we got to
shut
lease.
down
Right.
X amount of places. We're just moving the equipment
Yeah.
out and
Right.
leaving the lease or not renewing the lease.
So all that to say, Amazon and this relationship with the UPSs and the FedExes, it's really to me about managing the opportunity to I guess more successfully meet that dream or that goal of same day delivery at a way that they can have more control over it.
Absolutely. I think that's the only reason why they have this thing going on.
Now, one other thing we're going to talk about,
Uh-oh.
because I always thought, we just talked about how they
yeah.
made up with FedEx, and
Yeah.
I always thought, that what Amazon is doing is with their Amazon shipping was, they can get the last mile, makes sense. But then you told me that, when it comes to the third-party sellers and this whole strike or this forbidding them to use UPS, or FedEx, excuse me, I keep saying FedEx, that was just on the last mile for the customer.
Right.
But the
Their
relationship,
logistics that they're building is all based on customer.
last mile customer.
Yes.
But when it comes to the third-party sellers,
yeah.
it's a whole different ballgame.
It's all UPS.
So right now, even though they've been spending all this $1 billion on Amazon shipping,
It's
to
only
get stuff
half the
delivered,
game that they're doing.
it has nothing to do with how sellers get the product to
Right. So
Amazon.
the deal is, guys, third-party sellers have to use FedEx to get their wares into the warehouses. You don't have any Amazon trucks pulling up to your place of business, filling it with Amazon products for FBA, and then taking it to FBA.
So right now,
All of that happens through UPS.
So all these Amazon trucks that we see out on the street,
None of them are picking up product.
They're solely for delivering
They're
to
solely for
consumers.
yes.
You-
Truck-wise too.
But from a seller's perspective, in order for them to get their product to Amazon to sell it to you,
UPS.
it's not anything else, just UPS.
Pretty much. I mean, if you got LTL, then
All right, so
less than a load, you can
my
bring a
big
truck
question
in,
to
but-
you is just how long is it going to be before Amazon starts dipping into that?
I don't. I don't know. I mean, you've got something pretty good going on right now. Because there's two sides to this. If all the volume that third-party sellers are bringing into the warehouse going through or UPS gives them power to get lower prices for packages delivered to consumer through UPS. So it feeds both sides. And right now they're only delivering 50% of their own, fulfillment. Well, but I mean, still, 50%. Right, so that leaves the other 50% vulnerable to pricing, and as long as they got 100% of third-party seller products coming in through UPS, they get a better deal.
So I think the answer is, right now, shipping costs from Amazon to individual customers to get them their stuff, that's all on Amazon. They're paying for all of that shipping costs.
Oh, okay.
But right now,
I'm rolling my eyes because still the seller.
Well, I know they pass it on, but it's actually coming out of Amazon's checks.
Yes.
Now, when the sellers ship stuff into Amazon, Amazon's not paying a dime for that. That's all on the seller, right?
Right, but the seller does get discounting based on the volume.
Right, but it's still, they're paying it. Even if they're getting a discount, they're still physically paying.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too, is at one point you could use any provider to do that. And
why did UPS become the guy?
Last few years they said only UPS.
There must be a reason for that. Maybe they're getting kickback from UPS.
A little bit of that, but maybe I think because they integrated their
systems.
Labels.
Okay, all right.
Remove
some friction.
Remove some friction.
Okay,
absolutely.
All right. So until Amazon really nails down that last mile.
They got a long way to go.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Before they nail down that whole last mile, get to the same day delivery, last mile, get that streamlined and efficient and profitable as possible. They're not going to touch that part.
No, they're not going to touch that part.
But at some point,
look, here's the deal. If I'm UPS, as soon as you touch that part, you get no parts from me.
So they pull everything.
They just pull everything, and then now you're just left with, oh my God.
So maybe this is a good compromise. That hey, you may not need us. We will still let you have the shipping from seller to us, but all bets are off on.
I don't think so.
Really?
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't think so. I think at some level, UPS is probably sitting back saying, we could pull your shit like this. They do have a lever to pull to keep some of that direct consumer, traffic.
Interesting. It is so fascinating looking at all this stuff.
There's a lot of moving wheels
because this is a whole thing that I hadn't even thought about until this morning when we were talking. But that's some, with all the other stuff that Amazon has going on, this is the meat and potatoes of the business.
But that's why we go back to what I said on the earlier clip, is I really don't think that Amazon is looking to get that kind of power just for the revenue. They only want it as long as FedEx is doing what they do well. I think Amazon is more than happy to use.
I think you're right, but I think it's because that allows Amazon to focus their efforts and their resources on customer experience.
On what they do best.
And if they can keep ahead of everybody else on that, all this other stuff is driven by that.
Yeah.
There's no point in having, trying to deal heavy-handedly with sellers to a certain extent if the customers aren't buying stuff on the front end.
Right. And there's no reason for them to be heavy-handed with UPS as long as they're
handling this.
Yes. Because it allows them to grow, and we all get to share in that experience of the revenue stream. I don't see that being an issue.
The revenue stream.
But you gotta play ball with them. And I'm sure they're putting a lot of pressure on UPS, pricing-wise,
Fascinating.
Yeah.
That's sometimes, I get geeked out on the Alexa stuff and all that, but this right here that we just talked about, that's the business.
No, that's billions.
That's the business.
That's billions and billions of dollars.
Until Alexa comes up and says it.
Alexa ain't never leaving that little box that it's in.
Are you kidding me? at the Salesforce Dreamforce
I'm
event,
talking about is not going to walk around and deliver your packages for you.
no, drones will do that. No, anyway.
I'm not a big. I don't want a lot of drone traffic. We should talk about drones one day.
Yeah, but not today.
How is it going to work?
Not today.
Not today.
We did a lot of talking today.
We did a lot of
good talking. But
What?
no, it was a lot of good stuff.
Oh,
This was
I
a
know.
good- I'm impressed by your knowledge of the shipping stuff. I will say, I said it. You'll never hear me say those words again, but I said
I know. Wait, let's make sure that makes it in the edits.
No, probably you will never see that, folks. All right. We'll be,
Good stuff.
yeah, good show. I guess we'll be back next week. And then the following show,
On the road.
on the road in Austin, Texas.
Yay!
Going to be doing the Texas two-step. Well, maybe you. I don't know. But we'll be at
That's
the
Zoho.
Zoho Day, Austin. We're going to do a show from Austin, Texas.
Cool.
Maybe we'll pull in
Can't
some
wait.
guests. and
Absolutely.
stuff like that. Maybe get my buddy Paul Greenberg. Maybe get Brian Solis. Maybe we'll bring it
Ramon
on.
Ray?
Ramon is going to be there too.
Who else?
I don't know. Lots of stuff. Lots of people.
Is your girl going to be there?
Who's that? Melinda?
Oh hell. I don't remember. I can't remember. Never mind.
Oh, Lauren McCabe's probably.
Yes, she's going to be there.
Anyway.